Hey friends, and welcome back to Stronger Every Day. My name's Chrissy. It is great to be back with you all. Today we're going to talk about depression. So I feel like people all have their opinions of depression or any sort of mental illness. So let's just dive right into a statistic that I think will help you understand that we're not in this alone. So in the United States, there are 51 million people, adults, 51 million adults that are diagnosed or receiving treatment for depression. That's just depression. That doesn't include any of the other mental health diseases. That's just depression. 51 million adults in the US are diagnosed with depression and are on some form of treatment. I think that's staggering because when we're receiving the judgment from folks who act like, well, just pray about it, just let it go, just don't, get over it, just forget it. They don't have, honestly, any clue what you're going through. And I guarantee that they do the same thing. I've said this before. I feel like that's why people tend to be as hateful as they are here in 2026, is because we're all dealing with things, but we don't want to be labeled. So instead of understanding something, we mock it and make fun of it. And I feel like that happens a lot with mental illness, is that if you don't understand it or you don't want the stigma of being diagnosed or treated for it, then you mock it and make fun of it and you downplay it. And honestly, what that does is make your mental health worse. So we're not in this alone. There is many, many, many millions of Americans that struggle with this. And like I said, that's just depression, and that's just adults here in the United States. So I'm not quite sure. It always kind of amazes me that when a celebrity makes that final decision, that it's in the news about, oh, I can't believe this, what could we have done, when they were being mocked and made fun of and persecuted the entire time, and reaching for help and asking for help, and then we're all of a sudden shocked that it happens. And then for regular people like me, when someone that I know or hear about that's made that final decision, well, that was just weakness. That was a coward's way out. They should have been stronger. They should have asked for help. I just kind of have to shake my head in disbelief almost that that's still the thought process that people have today. I am sure that there are people that make that last minute decision very quickly and without some thought. I'm sure that occurs occasionally, but far and more often that occurs with weeks, months, years, decades of struggling with that disease and feeling like that is the only relief, right? I have been there many, 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 many times. I feel like truly the only reason I'm here today is to help people who struggle with mental illness. Mine has gotten progressively better over the course of 30 plus years. So there for the longest, it was progressively worse up until June of 2022. And then things really shifted for me. Do I still struggle with anxiety? Absolutely. Do I still struggle with depression occasionally? Depressive moments, yes. I would not say depression, but depressive moments, absolutely. Life is hard. I think it's hard for most people. It's extremely hard here in this household with everything that we have going on. So yeah, there are definitely moments, but things to remember, things that have helped me over the years. So what's helped Chrissy? So not everybody can do this, and I fully understand that, but taking some time off work, being with the public day in and day out, particularly, you could say this for any field, but particularly healthcare, interacting with 100, 200, 300 people a day. Both people coming in and then people that you work with. That is a mental load of of dealing with that many people's problems, and then you come home to your problems. And I told my husband the other day, we've been married 14 years and we've been together 16 years. And I, for the longest, kept waiting for like our year, you know, or our month, or things to not be hard. But to be quite honest, our entire marriage has been hard. My entire life has been hard. We've had our fair share, or more than our fair share, of tragedies and traumas. That's Miss Lily up there, by the way. Let me see if she'll come down. That's Miss Lily. She is our little Chihuahua, and that's Diesel. So I'm in the floor in the bedroom, and so they're coming to see what Mommy is doing. Diesel is new, by the way. If you guys probably remember Miss Lily, Diesel has been with us. We got him in December of 24. This will be your second Christmas with us. So December of 24, he was a 2-year-old rescue from a shelter about an hour away from us. And yeah, he is definitely a dude. Miss Lily is definitely a princess. We are down to 6. Those of you who remember, we had a Great Dane, Stella. She passed away not long after Nick got home from the first hospital trip in 2024. Not long after that, we lost Sugar, our Roddy mix. She passed away in December. We lost both of our outdoor cats. They were originally strays that came in, and I had never had an outdoor cat, so we built them a condo on the porch. It was a covered condo with heating plates. I forget what they call them. They're pet plates that you put like in there, and then they had their own little breezeway, and it was, yeah, it's still out there. We just don't have any cats at the moment. But so we lost both of them. It's been a wild ride, but so she may just hang out with us in the video. So, and then I've got Diesel walking up on me here. Anyway, so we've had a lot of things going on. What worked for Chrissy? So what worked for me was, I'll just let her sit in my lap. What worked for me was we had the ability for me to take a few months off work, and that I did. I took 6 months actually off work. Now, let me preface that with saying that we have always lived within our means. I have always had the mentality of save, 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 pay off, pay off, pay off. What's your money, right? So we were in a financial situation where I could take some time off work. That helped tremendously. What helped also was being able to just deal with our family problems, right? Just deal with life, that whatever life was throwing at us at the time, instead of everyone else's things that needed to be fixed. That helped tremendously. What helped the most, and before any of that, is at that time I really started diving into the Bible. I really started diving into God's Word, studying it, not just reading it, but studying it. I would take time to literally for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, however long that was, diving deep. I hit really hard on topics like depression, anxiety, the heart, the mind, the mouth. I hit really hard on a lot of those topics too, because that's what I was struggling with the most. And so that's one way I like to study the Bible, is when I'm struggling with something, is to get in there, dig deep, find the verses that can help me understand what's going on in life. That was a night and day turnaround. I cut back on the caffeine. I'm a huge diet drinker. It's just my thing. I don't do coffee. I cut back on that and was drinking more water, drinking more, it was a blackberry tea that I had gotten, drinking more of that, cooking our meals from home, which is always healthier than eating out. all of the things kind of changed for me. We had a garden, we got chickens, we had goats, and just all of the things. And that really helped for me. I flourished in that environment. That was the happiest time of my life, was being home, taking care of my four-legged kids, my chickens, my goats, my dogs, my cats, my husband, our finances, our home, taking care of our families that needed things at the time. I was able to drive them to doctor's appointments or whatever that might look like. That's where I flourish as a human, when I'm making our meals, doing things around the house that are not possible to get done when you're working full time. All the things, canning, growing. We had a enormous garden. We had 7, I think it was 50-foot garden rows. We had produce for days. We canned some. We gave a lot away to family and friends. We had excess, so we were able to cut back and give some to the goats and the chickens, and they loved it. But that really hasn't happened since that summer, and I miss that tremendously. It's yeah, all the things. So all the things that you read about, so I had done them all individually, but never kind of all together, and I slowly incorporated that. Like, I didn't overwhelm myself with making all of the changes. So when I first quit work, I did, for 2 weeks, I did basically nothing. I was kind of letting myself decompress, and I was talking to my doctor. This has been probably 3 months ago. We were talking about, I was feeling just overwhelmed, exhausted, shaking all the time. I felt there was a lot that happened 3 months ago, a lot, and it's not my story, so I can't go into that, but it affected me greatly. And I felt a lot of rage, a lot of anger, and, you know, she just looked me dead in the eye and she said, Chrissy, you've been running on exhaustion. You've been, like, your tank's been empty since you've been coming here, which has been 10 years. And she said, I would venture to say, you know, many years before that, like, you're, I'm drawing a blank on what she called it, but, yeah, and it kind of took me back that, like, you've been running on, not fight or flight, but you've been, I'll think of it in a second. But anyway, it kind of took me back because I had never been told that before, that, you know, you're tapped out. Your mind, your body, everything is tapped out. And if you don't make a change now, there's going to be a problem. Like, eventually your body's going to sit you down because you cannot go any further into things. So I had to stop because it was driving me crazy to think of the term survival mode. So she had said, you know, you've been in survival mode since I've known you, which has been 10 years and probably much longer than that. And for the first time, something kind of registered with me, that not only was she 100% correct, but that my body is literally tapped out and exhausted from being in survival mode. I honestly don't really know any other way to live. And she kind of asked me a couple questions, just general stuff. We get along really, really well. I have an amazing PCP. And she was like, you know, again, like, what do you do for fun? I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And it just started hitting me when she said that, yeah, Chrissy, it's time to take your life back, to make some better decisions, and start working on what you want your future to look like. We all don't know how many days we have on this earth, and it just made me kind of register that I need to start taking that more seriously. But, you know, I did a combination of things. Like I said, the first 2 weeks I really didn't do anything. I just kind of decompressed, and then I started drinking more water, less caffeine. Then I kind of bought the tea to kind of add some flavor into something besides water. And then I started being more active. I started getting tasks done that I had wanted to get done, but just didn't have the time, strength, energy to do all through the days that I was working. I started cooking meals from scratch. I started really diving deep, studying God's Word, really being more active in our church. I slowly started incorporating all the things that I had done, one or two, but never kind of all of them together. And that helped tremendously. I can't really describe. It was almost like getting out of the negative situation of work and all that it involved, decompressed me to a level that changed me at that point. Now, I did go back to work, and I am working, and I can say this. So I went back to work in, I want to say January of 24. And I worked that job until August of 25, and then I started the job I'm at now, and I've been there a year, literally a year, a couple days ago. And I'm not the same person that I was in January of 24. I went in January of 2024 with, I even typed in my notes file in my phone, remember that this is not a job, that you're there to be God's hands and feet. And the entire time that I worked at that job, I prayed that every morning. Lord, let me be your hands and feet. And I have zero doubt that I was his hands and feet. I didn't, but through me, he touched many people. I have a lot of compassion for people, and I understood what they were going through at that job because I had been there, done that many, many, many times. And so I got it, understood it, and a lot of compassion. I actually really liked that portion of the job, but I am not the same person I was in January of 2024, and that's discouraging. It's very discouraging because I saw what I'm meant to be, but I kind of let society talk me back into that. If you're not making an income, you're not vital. If you don't work, you don't eat. And so I went back to work, and that's something that I still think about today. Am I still following what God asked me to do, or am I basically directly disobeying what he's told me to do? I don't know the answer to that, but he will reveal it to me in time. My point being is that when we struggle with whatever mental illness we have, for me, depression, anxiety, when we're prepared on how to counteract that, it takes those depressive episodes that spiral us down, and it either knocks them out completely, or they're less difficult than before. To me, having a game plan, recognizing right up in the beginning that our mind is changing and what we need to do for that. So for me, when I am going through a difficult time, when I'm going through a very high stress time, I do not listen to sad music. I don't watch sad movies. I don't entertain conversations that are sad. I don't flip through social media and watch something that is sad, because I know that that will get in my mind and affect my mood. So I limit my time on social media, or what I'm watching on social media. I limit what I hear, what I see. That helps me tremendously. I also start talking to myself that, Chrissy, you're stronger. You're stronger now. You can fight this head on. You don't have to get down in that pit. You're tough. You can do this. Look at, you've made it 31 years dealing with depression and anxiety. Girl, you've got this. You've got this. This is a moment in time. Those moments are different for everybody. Sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's a month, sometimes it's a year. Obviously, sometimes it's longer than that. I've had periods of all of that throughout the 31 years. But I'm prepared now to stop it. I watch what I eat. I lay off the junk food and the crap foods. I do try to pay attention to the amount of caffeine I'm drinking and the amount of water I'm drinking. Obviously, with anxiety, caffeine is not your friend, right? So I start paying attention to all that. And again, that helps me not dive deep in that spiral. Do I have bad moments? Yeah, of course. Yes, I do. But I prepared myself not to dive back into that pit. So on the next video, I'm going to try to go over different things that have helped me with mental illness, and different things that have helped other people that I know of that have truly made a difference and helped them rebound. This is not a one size fits all type thing. I will tell you that right now. People that I know personally that I'm good friends with, we do not respond the same to certain things. For them, it might be journaling, it might be talking to a therapist, it might be other things. For me, that neither one of those two have really worked for me. Things that I do, one of them is not a Christian. She doesn't believe in God. She doesn't believe in the Bible, and that's not something she's going to do. But she's had success in other ways, journaling, talking to a therapist. So it's not a one size fits all, but this is a list of what's helped me and what's helped people that I know personally in my life that struggle with depression and anxiety. I use those two because that's what I struggle with, but these can help in all of the ways. I like to end every video this way, friends. It's always my heart and my hope that you feel this very last part of the video. I've said it many times. If you wanted to skip through to the end and just watch this part, I'm completely good with that. And that is, God loves you. I love you. Your friends, your family love you. And we need you here. We'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye.